on my way now. I'm on my way now. I'm on my way now.
Today we're going to be talking about the pros and the cons about the Dominican Republic. Believe it or not, it's not always perfect here.
So I think if you live here, if you're moving here, even if you're coming for a short period of time or visiting for a while, you're going to find this video helpful. So if this is your very first time watching, my name is Anna. Trevor is currently behind the camera. We are the Delightful Travelers. We actually spend a lot of time here in the Dominican Republic. We've been coming now for about 4 years. We consider this our home. We live here a good like 8 months of the year. So I think at this point we have a pretty good idea of what to expect when coming here. And again, going back to those pros and the cons of being here.
We're currently here on Cabarete Beach, which is where we live. We absolutely love this place, but one of the reasons we're here is, well, you probably guessed it, it's because of the beautiful weather.
Of course, it cannot be perfect all the time, but guess what they do not get here? They don't get any snow. We are from Canada. We try to avoid winter as much as we possibly can, and that's something we do not have to worry about here. Even if it rains one day, it's just rain, but most of the time, it's like this. It's about probably 27 degrees today, sunny, and as you might be able to hear through the microphones, it's quite windy, and that wind always keeps you quite cool. It doesn't get too hot here, which we really enjoy. And I think some people that have a really hard time in the heat really enjoy it here because you always get that really nice wind.
Well, we have another one for the pro category here. It's the beaches. The beaches here in the Dominican Republic are absolutely beautiful. Now this one, it is a little bit of a wavy beach, but hey, there's a beach here for everyone. See our last video, for example. We were in a beach that was completely flat, turquoise. Even on a rainy day, it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, who doesn't like a nice beach? Well, you know, I know there's some of you out there that don't like a beach, but for those of you that do, hit the like button if you like a beach.
So we've talked about this a lot in our past videos, but one thing we love about being here is just the slower pace of life. We love our daily life here more than anywhere else we've been in the world, and we've been to like 60 countries, but there's just something about living here that we have fallen in love with. One thing we do every day is we take a hour-long walk on the beach. This is the perfect walking beach, like one of the best walking beaches we've ever encountered in the entire world. So that's a major thing for us. We spend so much time outside every day, but we also are able to give ourselves time to work, but also time to be outside. And we just love the work-life balance that we can have here. So we can be outside a lot, but we also can get some work done. We can have some pool time. We can have some beach time. We have some really great food options, which we'll talk about later in the video. But just like it's a perfect balance of like not being too crazy busy. There's a slower pace of life here, and I don't know, it's the best for us. We love it.
I have to bring up the whole work-life balance thing or mental health. Down here, it's just so different. The rat race, let's call it the rat race, the corporate rat race, isn't a thing. I mean, it could be, I guess, if you wanted it to, but we're not here for that. We're here for beach life. We're not retired. We do work every single day, but we're able to kind of balance it all out, if that makes sense. We can fit in a bit of beach time, we can fit in some pool time, but at the same time, we do work a lot.
Yeah, and I think you were just saying to me off camera, like mental health here, like we just feel so much mentally better here.
Oh, yeah.
You wake up every day and just feel so much better. I feel like I sleep so much better here.
It's everything. It checks all the boxes. So far there's a lot of pros here. Don't worry, we're going to get into some cons.
Oh, we will.
There's quite a few as we make it through the video. Well, the next thing we're going to talk about here is traffic. So
I would say the most dangerous thing to do here in the Dominican Republic is drive. It can be very chaotic. At the moment it's relatively normal, but you have to be super careful here. There's a ton of people on motos. They just kind of drive in and out of you, so you have to be paying attention to you all the time. The other thing is crossing the street. Never a lot of fun.
We're going to keep our eye on the light here. Jeez, it's so loud, you guys. All right, we got a green light. You can see people are going right through. These guys aren't going to stop.
No.
This guy is going to go through us. Fun times. I guess we're used to this. We're used to this now, right? This is how it goes.
We are, but you do have to be really careful when crossing the street. I actually sometimes prefer not. There's like one set of streetlights here in the whole town. I prefer not to cross there because a lot of people do not abide by red and green. They will just go whatever, whenever, and whatever way they want. So It's almost easier to wait until there's just 2 lanes of traffic and trying to figure it out. Once in a while, someone will stop for you, but not very often.
The other thing you're probably going to notice is the noise. Yes, this is one of the absolute biggest cons. Look at this. So you get these dump trucks as well. They make an absolute racket. I don't even know if you guys can hear me right now. So between the bikes and the dump trucks, I mean, this is one of the cons, one of the worst things about the DR. Anyone will tell you that comes here to this country. It's so loud, you guys. Right now we are on one of the busier corners. It's not always this bad, but I hope it gives you an idea. Like I said, not everything is perfect in the country, that's for sure. Right off the busy road here is a restaurant called Happy Family. This is a local traditional place. We got a Presidente Light, our Dominican Corona. Lime is in here, as you know. And yes, it's gonna be a little loud because we're right off this main street. Already it's like, whoa. But before our food gets here, we're gonna go through that and show you guys some prices. I wanted to talk a little bit about what other types of food options can you get here in the country. So many people ask us, like, what can you eat there besides Dominican food? And to us, I mean, because we live here, it's kind of funny. Even in our little tiny town, you can get everything. Of course, there's pizza, there's pasta, but it gets even down to some subcategories here. We got smash burgers. You can get ramen, sushi, pad thai, Mediterranean food, you name it. And that's just our little tiny town, our little beach town in Cabarete. When you get to the main cities, like if you go to Santo Domingo or Santiago, I mean, they're world-class cities. You can get any type of food you want, from curries to local food, you name it.
So we came here to get some local Dominican traditional food. We went for some fried chicken. Yes, they actually have some of the best fried chicken in the world here in the Dominican Republic. They know how to do it. We got some rice and beans and some tostones, which are fried plantains. This is honestly one of my favorite lunches that you can get in the Dominican Republic. Is it healthy? No, not really, but we probably eat this like once or twice a year. It's not very often, but it's definitely a treat. I'm gonna try this chicken first. Just look at the outer edges of it and all the like batter on the outside. They typically do this really well in the Dominican Republic. I don't think we've ever tried it here at Happy Family, so that's the question. Is it gonna be as good as normal? Oh yeah, that does not disappoint. What I love about the fried chicken here is that it's always super duper crunchy on the outside. But however they make that batter, it's so good. It's like, sometimes you go to places and it's really soft on the outside. Here you always get a crunch. And they also put a lot of like seasonings in there. I feel like you can almost see some like, I don't know if it's cayenne pepper or paprika or something like that in there, but they add a lot of flavor to the outside, and then the chicken on the inside is always nice and tender. I wish I knew how they did it, because it's some of the best fried chicken. I mean, I know all around the world, especially in the Caribbean, like fried chicken's always a big thing, but here, they might do it best.
I think we mentioned that we're splitting this, so that saves us some money as well, because the portions here in the DR are always massive. If I ate 2 of these plates on my own, I wouldn't be able to move this afternoon. But let's talk about prices a little more in general. Like, some people say, well, the DR is not the most affordable country in the world. Of course it's not. There's lots of countries that are cheaper, but the thing is, the DR is at least half or less the cost of, say, Canada or the USA. That's for sure, and we can tell you firsthand because we are here full-time for the most part, 6 to 8 months a year, and we save money while we're here. It allows us to actually go out and eat at restaurants a little more, because even the restaurants are about the third of the price. So that's going to get a huge check on the pro list. Just the affordability of the Dominican Republic, even in the year 2025, is still a giant pro.
So we just got our bill, definitely a great price. So that's basically 1,000 pesos for 2 beers and a really big meal. Like, that was one meal, but I could never eat that on my own in a million years. Like, that was tons of food. It might as well have been 2 meals. So that's about, I don't know, 16 or 17 USD. Not bad for a lunch. I mean, you can definitely get cheaper lunches here. This is, oh, sorry, loud out there. This is definitely a local food restaurant, but more so for tourists. If you go into some other areas, you're gonna get a lot more local places and it will be way cheaper, but to us, this is a really good price. We just got tons of food. We couldn't even finish it. Definitely one of the cons, we would say, about the Dominican Republic, and we've talked about this in previous videos, the bills can be very confusing. Here, it's cash only, so they don't add tax and tip onto it because they can kind of get away from it. But a lot of places, when you're paying with credit card, they will add 18% tip and then a 10% basically a service charge on top of that. And some people even expect you to tip on top of that. So it's like a lot of...
But they're supposed to actually include the tip on the bill.
Yeah, it's kind of nice when they don't, because I actually prefer to like leave my own tip to decide that, and then you know it's going directly to the server and not just to the owner of the restaurant. That's my preference. I honestly just wish they would get rid of that 10% thing in general and just allow you to tip whatever you want, because it can get so confusing. People ask us about it all the time.
Gracias. All right, well, it's safe to say we highly recommend that place. Happy Family if you're in Cabarete, if you want some local food. But speaking of recommendations, whoa, back on the loud road now. Speaking of recommendations, you guys always ask us where to eat in Cabarete because it's where we live. We did come out with a guide. So we have a guide, a restaurant guide that you can purchase on our website. I think it's something like $7.99. This one worked really hard at it, but there's a lot of information about some great restaurants there, huh?
Yeah, so we will put a link just like at the top of the description below if you want to purchase it.
All right, we're just walking down into one of the barrios here, Callejón. You can see you got some people fixing bikes and gear, all kinds of sights and all kinds of things to look at. Still loud. Oh, we got some food going on there. Good old DR. It's all smoky, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what that place is. It must be like a local like barbecue joint because they got a smoker out in front. Maybe we'll have to check that out in another video. But this is an interesting neighborhood. So it's very much more of a local neighborhood, but we've definitely noticed over the past few years it's very much gentrifying. So you're going to get very much a mix of stuff in here. So some of our favorite restaurants are back here, but then there's lots of local places as well.
So one of the reasons we wanted to come down here and show you guys is talk about infrastructure, because that is one of the cons. Now, there's different sections or different areas in the DR, of course. By the beach, it's a little more built up. Right here, we're in a very local area. But like Anna said, the neighborhood is gentrifying. I better get off the road here because it gets tight. 1 second. So, yeah, the interesting thing about Callejón, this barrio that we're in, is literally some of the best restaurants in the town are here. At the same time, it's mixed in with the local neighborhood, so it's really unique.
One thing that people ask us about all the time is like, if they're coming here, you know, do you need to worry about power going the power going out a lot, or you know, like internet outages? This is a loud neighborhood if you haven't figured that out. But well, yes, the power goes out a fair bit. We would actually never stay in a building that does not have backup power, and that's pretty common around here to have like a generator. It usually, when the power flicks, like it literally just flicks and then the generator kicks on, so you might lose power for like a minute or so, but never more than that. I think that's really important, especially if you're working like us. Like we just need to rely on we can't have days where we don't have electricity. I would say it's getting less and less. So there might be one day a week where it might be out for an afternoon. Often that's scheduled outages where they're working on stuff. So in rainy season, it tends to be a little bit worse just because, you know, there's a lot of rain and stuff happening and it causes outages. But this time of year when the weather's a little bit more stable, I find the electricity also is. And we generally with internet don't have too many issues. Once in a while we hear people say stuff about their internet going out a lot. We in general, knock on wood, doesn't happen very often.
I know some of you guys watching the video today are going to ask about safety. Like, is this place safe? The thing is, the only thing we're ever worried about is the roads. You got to watch the traffic and things like that. But in general, like right now we're in a barrio. I mean, it's in Cabarete for that matter, but we find the Dominican Republic super safe. We have a lot of videos on safety in the country, and we still get asked all the time. If you guys are wondering if it's safe here, it's actually in the pro category. Can you get up to, I don't know, could something bad happen to you?
Sure, it can happen anywhere.
It happens in Canada, for instance, or the USA, all the time. But here, not as much as you think.
We are now back over in the main part of town. One of the questions that we get a lot is like, can you buy everything that you need here in the Dominican Republic? Because I know people think like you're on a Caribbean island, there's probably limited supplies of anything that really you might need to stock up on, clothing, any sort of supplies type stuff. Honestly, you can buy pretty much everything here that you need. Some things can be more expensive because they do have to be imported, but keep in mind that you can buy things from Amazon. So we do this, there's a few different companies that do this. One behind me is called EPS, it's the one that we use. You just go and you sign up for an account, and then you buy stuff off Amazon and get them shipped to this one address in Miami, and then they bring them here. You pay a minimal fee. It's based off of like weight and the size of what you're shipping. So you don't want to buy anything too big or heavy because that'll get expensive, but you're just buying like clothing, sunglasses, stuff like that. It ends up being really cheap. So that's a great thing, just knowing that you can get pretty much anything you could ever need.
Definitely a pro on the list, that is for sure.
Yeah.
And the service here is really good, and they're always super friendly.
Yeah, they're super nice.
The other thing we wanted to touch on a little bit is healthcare. Now, I'll talk about that quickly. Some of you, probably the ones that watch week to week, know that I broke my toe a couple months ago. I got in right away, got an x-ray, and everything worked out. So I just have to give it a big check because I keep hearing things like, especially in the cities, healthcare is great, but let's talk about dental. There's a dentist office right behind me there. To get your teeth cleaned here, it's 2,500 pesos, and I'm going off memory, that's somewhere around like 40 US dollars, like 50 Canadian dollars. To get that done, where we're from in Canada, it costs, I think now like 150 bucks. It's like, it's absolutely crazy. State-of-the-art dentist office. So I had to bring that up because I think a lot of people don't think stuff like that exists here. Well, I can tell you it does. Another one on the pro list. Well, next up, we've come over to one of our favorite places in the town here, Vagamundo. We got ourselves a cold brew. Look how good this coffee looks. Oh my God, you guys. Coffee's always great here. I get mine with Normal. Oh, and you might be wondering what this is. It's a portable fan. Yeah, we're kind of those people now. It's hot here in the Caribbean, especially here in the DR, and I just turn this guy on and it cools me down. So I'll leave this on to get nice and fresh while I tell you guys more about stuff that's on the pro list. Island fever. A lot of people come down here and say, don't you guys get sick of being on an island? Like, don't you feel like you need to get to the mainland? There's only so much you can do here. Definitely not the case in the Dominican Republic. A lot of people underestimate like how big the country is. The island in general is massive, you guys. It's not like we're on St. Martin or Anguilla or something like that, which is very small islands. You're not gonna get island fever here. There's giant cities. So if you don't want the beach, you can go to Santo Domingo and modern neighborhoods, just like you're in New York or Toronto, do your shopping, live in high-rise condos, that's there for you. There's mountains, you can go way, way up, 10,000 feet high on the top of the mountain if you really want to do a 4-day trek, but you can drive halfway up to Constanza and be in cool temperatures and be in farmlands with almost no palm trees. So it kind of has everything, but you know, obviously you guys watching, most of you would be here for the beach, which is like we are, but this is the thing. You heard the slogan, DR has it all. It actually does. Surfing, great coffee like this. Let's try it, by the way. I don't think I tried it yet. It's absolutely delicious. If you're coming to Cabarete, come to Vagamundo.
Also, because this island is so big, there are an abundance of airports. So here in Cabarete, the Puerto Plata airport is only about 30 minutes away, so that's super convenient. But if there's not the right flights for you there, Santiago is about an hour and a half away, and it's got a lot more flights, a lot of international flights. You can go all sorts of places. If doesn't work for you, Santo Domingo is like 3 to 4 hour drive from here. They have flights literally almost everywhere. They go to Europe, they go to other parts of the Caribbean. You can get back to Canada, to the US, and of course Punta Cana, and then there's other airports on top of that. So really there's so many options to get places. It's very convenient for us if we ever need to get home. We know that it's like relatively easy. We're not on the other side of the world. Like if we decided to live in Thailand, getting home would be so complicated if you have to do it last minute.
Well, it's now a little bit later and we are back at our place. We're cooking at home tonight because it's a very busy night out at the beach, and believe it or not, we do cook at home quite often. At least half the time, or 70% of the time, we go to the grocery store, you guys, and we cook. Anna's back there. We're going to show you what's happening soon. But one thing, we were just looking back at the footage today, and we realized we didn't talk about a huge con here. It's one of the biggest cons. Garbage. There's a lot of garbage in the Dominican Republic, and I just mean that, like, if you're driving around and you see some of these beautiful beaches, quite often, and it's kind of sad, you'll see garbage on the side of the road at some of the beaches. You might remember when we were in Puerto Plata recently, not too far from a beautiful resort where we were at, it was garbage, like a lot of garbage coming up at the beach. This seems to be improving over time, but we can't ignore it, we can't lie about it. It's a thing. It's a giant con, maybe one of the biggest cons, that and the noise. But it seems to be, from what we can tell, we talked to a lot of Dominicans decade over decade, it is getting better. Hopefully with education, people will stop throwing stuff out on the road, and just hopefully the beaches won't be polluted. But we're gonna go back there and show you what we're cooking at home tonight. I know you're all wondering what's happening back here. So Anna tonight is the chef. I'm usually the breakfast chef. She's kind of like the dinner chef when we cook, but water bottles, you probably see this stuff. this might be one of the cons. Now, I know a lot of people that live in Canada have water bottles like this, but here you can't drink the tap water. Or you shouldn't.
You shouldn't drink the tap water. You also shouldn't cook with it. Brushing your teeth is kind of debated. Some people say you should do it. Some people say you shouldn't. But that's up to you to decide what to do. But in general, we use that water for a lot of things. Like we just basically shower and wash our dishes in the regular tap water. But yeah, we're making dinner back here. So we just went from like a con to a pro. You can definitely buy a lot of ingredients here. There's not much we haven't been able to find. So tonight we're making kind of like a chicken meatball red curry ramen. Sounds good.
That sounds really good.
I know, we've had it before. It's one of our favorites. It's pretty easy to make as well. But one thing that you really need for it is like a red curry paste. This is red curry sauce. I've never tried this one before, so we'll see how it is. But we found this at the local grocery store. And the nice thing is that you can find all the like those random Asian ingredients, which is something we cook with a lot. You can find all that stuff here, and I love that. It's a little, it's a little pricey, but chicken and all the other ingredients, like all the veggies and stuff, is relatively inexpensive, so it kind of balances out.
I always say I wish they could smell what's happening. Right now, there's just veggies.
Just veggies.
We have meatballs somewhere. We got some ramen noodles there. There's a lot going on. You use your cheat sheet. You got the cheat sheet with your ingredients, I think.
Yeah, this is me following a recipe. Yeah, I'm not a master chef. I will follow a recipe, and like I said, I'll put that in the description below if anybody wants to recreate this.
I'm going to take you guys into the bathroom right now. Not because I have to use it. I just want to talk about a few things in here because there's a few cons. I think you guys will, you'll understand why in a second. So in the Dominican Republic, you cannot flush this wonderful stuff, yes, the toilet paper, into the toilets. It has to go into this thing. This is just how it works. And here's the part that you might find interesting. Now I get to film myself in the mirror. This is not the only place. In most islands, I'll say, especially when you're in the middle of, by the equator, let's call it that, this is normally the case. Many countries you have to do this, but even in a lot of old cities like Athens, Rome, sometimes, depending on the hotel you're at, it's pretty normal to take this luxury, the toilet paper, and put it here. Not here, because if you put it there, it's gonna clog the toilet. We're going to talk about another pro here, internet. You guys are probably wondering what we have for internet. We work, we're not retired. We have something like 30 to 40, right now it's showing 35. I actually forget if we paid for 30 down, and then I believe we have something around the same up. So it's a little lower, but it's still really good. You can pay for this to go even higher. So we can work here, no problem. But look at this. Who else right now is watching Severance on Apple TV? We are so curious because we're loving this show. One of the things we love about being in Cabarete and the DR is we go a little slower. We travel a lot, as I think you guys know. But when we're here, because we're here for like 6 to 8 months, we kind of get to watch some shows. When we're on the road, we never get to do this. Do you like Severance, the show?
I was going to say, ooh, that broth is really good. I'm excited for that. Yeah, so we were kind of late to the ball game with that show. Season 1, I think, came out like 3 years ago. Didn't know anything about it.
No.
Recently read about it like probably a month or two ago. Like, this sounds interesting. I actually read kind of the, like, what the concept was, and then forgot about it, but I think I told you about it. So we started the show forgetting what the concept was, which is a really great way to go into it. And we literally finished season 1 and season 2 started. So
it actually sounds like it's about getting fired, like something,
I think it was like a workplace.
A workplace thing, but I would say this, it's actually the first time in a long time I feel like they've come up with something that I never thought about before.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Who else is watching this? It's on Apple TV. We're just curious, but
so good.
We're about to eat, but it's been a pretty fun day, but let us know who's watching Severance.
Well, I think our meal is almost ready. I have the noodles going over there, so we should wrap this up quickly so that I don't overcook anything and we can get back to our delicious meal. But I hope this video has been helpful to you guys. If you're looking to come here, move here, spend a couple weeks here,
we'll be very curious what you guys think about this. We put as much thought as we could into like what are the pros and the cons. We likely missed some.
I'm sure we did.
So if you guys have any pros or cons that we missed, put it down below. But given where we're from the north where it's cold, especially this time of year. Mm-hmm. I think the pros outweigh the cons.
For us. If they didn't, we wouldn't be here, I don't think. But there's so many great pros here and a few cons that you have to get used to, and I think it's important to know before you come here.
Yeah, once you know them and you're just used to them and you navigate around them, it just feels like normal. Like when you're here for 6 months, 8 months at a time. Again, if you're coming for a week, you're going to be a little bit shocked if the power gets cut. When you're here for 6 months and you know the days they cut the power, because that's actually a thing, it's usually Tuesday here in Cabarete, you get used to it. If you got this far in the video, thank you for tuning in. It's Trevor and Anna, Delightful Travelers. Hit the like button, comment, all of the things. If you're a patron, we appreciate it even more. There's lots more videos coming up. For now, we got to get back there and make sure our food is still good. The ramen noodles can't be overcooked.
Yeah, but do you want to tell them where we're going to be in our next video?
Well, I was going to try to save it to the end to do this big surprise, suspenseful thing, but she's ruining it right now. Let's do there's a stick at the end we do. Like,
all right, guys, that's it.
From Dominican Republic, wishing you delightful travels.
See you soon.
Now, this is the part where I was going to say before. You ready?
Yeah.
We're going back to Canada.
Yeah.